today's society, advertisements are unavoidable to all ages. Over time, technological advances have fueled the advertising industry. Advertisers are not limited to who they target, and children are widely affected. Because of their young, impressionable nature, children more often than not fall victim to advertisements, which also impacts the dynamic of households.
To explore our issue further, we went directly to the source. We asked children about their understanding of advertising.
Do either of you know what an advertisement is?
No.
No?
My best guess would be having friends. Well, advertisement is like when someone wants to sell you something and now you know that that thing exists. Newspapers, TV commercials. Like in stores?
I find like my toys on commercials at the store, like at my friends.
In order to get even a greater perspective, we asked the parents about the effects of advertising in their children and household. Here's what they said.
Oh, yes, it does. Even still, at their older age, it does. However, they were heavily influenced by it when they were young because every movie trailer, every new snack, fruit roll-ups, every new cereal was the one. They wanted that. And then they get in the grocery store and all about it. So it definitely affected my children as well.
They see a lot on TV and want toys or want to go places, and it's influential for them.
I think that's just kind of a given based on the age gap, because while there are adults that are impulse buyers and take note of advertisement, adults have a filter and one, know what's in the pocketbook, and two, can differentiate a difference between a need and a want. A kid, they want it, they need it, they gotta have it. There's really no differentiation. I saw that, I want that, let's get it.
I think there's a lot of commercials and advertising that goes on that creates the want for them. They want to have whatever they see on TV. They think that that's like the norm. So definitely.
After the interviews, we concluded that young children are unable to agree on an accurate definition of an advertisement, but they can recognize types of advertisements that they are exposed to in their daily lives. Based on our interviews, our theory about children being unaware of the role that they play in consumership was confirmed. Because of their lack of knowledge about advertising, children continuously fall victim to advertisers. The parents that we interviewed seemed to agree that their children are being affected by advertising all the time. They also agreed that children are affected differently than adults.
Finally, we sat down with Julie Armstrong, professor of communication here at St. Edward's, to get her professional opinion on the issues surrounding children and advertising.
I am Julie Armstrong. I'm a visiting assistant professor in the Department of Communication at St. Edward's University. And so the topic of advertising to children is one that is fascinating to me because they want to get the children exposed to the product when they're young and get them hooked on it. I mean, I think there's so much research that's being conducted that to look at really the impact of advertising on children and even toward babies. Advertising is targeting babies. There are television stations that are targeting babies that have advertising. I love to go to grocery stores and look at advertising, look at where the products are placed on the shelf. And clearly the cereal is a perfect example. When you look at most popular cereals that target kids have some type of a character representative as a spokesperson. Captain Crunch, Tony the Tiger, the Fruit Loops guy, and now we have all kinds of movie tie-ins with cereal. And this is all done very carefully to reach the child, reach that audience. And they love these adorable, funny characters, Cocoa Puffs, you name it. They all have what we call a character representative, which is a made-up celebrity spokesperson. So early in their lives, they're being targeted, and they want those products. I see the kid in the grocery cart throwing a temper tantrum because their mother isn't buying Fruit Loops or isn't buying cereal with the cute, Trix, the rabbit. And then the other obvious place is the point of purchase, or POP, at the checkout stand, where all these candy products and all these bright, shiny little kid toys are placed. And it's all done intentionally to wear down the parents, to buy the products, to get the children exposed and hooked at a young age.
Professor Armstrong provided us with some new insight about the way that children are targeted. She discusses the ways that stores place their items intentionally to promote their higher sales. This term is called point of purchase, or the POP. She also discusses the term character representative, which refers to celebrities that are used in advertisements to appeal to children.
Lastly, we visited another professional, Natalia, who works for an organization called Girls for Empowerment, whose goal is to educate and inspire young at-risk girls through after-school programs. In her interview, she gave us yet another perspective by focusing specifically on the ways that gender is portrayed in children's advertising. Here's what she had to say.
I believe that it can. It just depends on the messaging that for like a TV show versus a commercial ad, versus maybe like watching like sports, like sports specifically, and that there is like a lot of room for negative messaging to occur. Particularly like around for like girls and like body image and who is represented in the media and who children are seeing in the media, it's a very like particular like type of person that is portrayed, or who do they look up to, who do they admire, who do they want to be like. And whenever the media portrays a certain like tier of person that you have to be like the standard model, like what does she look like, or what does he look like, and aspiring to like be all of those things can have like a negative influence on body image and self-esteem.
Right.
I definitely think it has influence on children and how and who they become and who like what they like. And I also think that family and parenting has an influence on that, and peers, but I definitely think that like the media does have an influence on what people like and what box they put themselves in and what box they try and put themselves in, whether it be their authentic self or not.
Children are heavily influenced by advertising, most of the time without being aware of it. In their interviews, parents and children showcase the ways that both parties are affected by children and advertising. It impacts not only the spending in households, but also the way that children perceive their wants and needs. Professor Julie Armstrong discussed some of the strategies that advertisers use to capture the attention of children, such as the point of purchase and character representative. Finally, Natalia Ornelas from the Girls for Empowerment organization spoke about one very important issue surrounding children in advertising: the gender roles portrayed in advertisements targeted to children.
To conclude, advertising can negatively affect children. Because children are young and impressionable, they are more vulnerable to advertising techniques and strategies than adults may be. This can impact them in many ways, including the development of their self-identity, understanding the value or worth of products, and how they, as consumers, can impact their household dynamic.